So I'm shooting up, and I want to tell you about this one class I took one time. It was called Death, and it was taught by the bioethics chair of the hospital attached to my college. And we disagreed strongly. He was of the opinion that you must fear death because to not fear death is irrational because it's not a good survival mechanism to not fear death, which I get, but I just think death is inevitable. So why would you fear it? You know, it doesn't make any sense. Also, I'm of the opinion that we're all the energy that can be neither created nor destroyed, but simply changes forms. You know how, like, E equals MC squared, and we're just all energy, and based on the first law of thermodynamics, energy can be neither created nor destroyed. So, since we are mass, essentially energy, we're just like this one being that people call Brahman or Atman or Anatman or the Tao or Unidad or all of these things. God. Like, we are God. Everything is God. That's what Alan Watts was trying to say, you know. You're God, man. You can't make a mistake, man. Not that you aren't. Not that you're really the best version of you, but you can't do anything but what you're doing because we're experiencing classically. We can only be in one state at once. Anyway, whether or not you believe that last part, basically, I'm of the opinion that I can't, there's no point in fearing death because I'm eventually gonna die. Everyone's eventually gonna die. All your followers are gonna die. The internet might stay around a little bit longer than that. That's what, like, I'm banking on. I don't really know. I make my content for the future, not for people stuck in the past. Um, but who knows? Also, I just act for the sake of acting. That's what the Gita told me to do. My cat's doing something. One second. What are you doing? He just wants to play, man. I should probably play with him. Um, but yeah, I took this class called Death, and I got in a huge fight with the professor the entire time because he told me I had to fear death, and I was like, I'm not really afraid, man. And he was like, you're irrational, man. You have a terrible survival mechanism. Also, I was a chick at this time, so I think it also upset him that a really tall chick was telling him that everything he thought was true was wrong and that he was a fear of death monger, and that's why he wanted me to fear death. I never told him that to his face, but I do think that's why he wanted me to fear death because he works for the hospital. And the hospital makes their money off of dying people. So I just think he wanted me to fear death so that I'd go to the hospital more when I start to die. So he can save me and make me immortal. Oh my god. Like I'm trying to get to a place where I'm comfortable with Jeff B. Even though Jeff B sucks, I signed the petition. You know, the petition to leave him in space. But I'm trying to get to a point where I accept him as he is. It's really difficult for me. But I figure that if he can accept trans people, then maybe he just removed that one trans book. I don't really know if he accepts trans people when Harry became Sally or something. But anyway, I like to try to accept people. So despite my hatred for Jeff B, I've like learned. I'm trying to get certified in Jeff B ish. I'm like trying to understand his mind and how it works. But something that really upset me recently that Jeff B did was I saw this news article that said Jeff B on the search for immortal life because he needs more time to spend his money, basically, is what the news article was saying. But I don't really know why he wants immortal life, but he's on the quest for immortal life somehow. My thing about that is death is what gives life meaning. One, I'm of that opinion. And two, like, I don't. Have you ever read the book, the short story Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Kurt Vonnegut? There's also like tons of short stories by Kurt Vonnegut about what happens when we harness immortal life, and there's like suicide parlors and everything. Just go read some Kurt Vonnegut. Like, dude, we can't know immortal life. I don't want it. And Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, they like the cities expand to be like take up whole states, and everyone lives in apartment complexes that are like 200 floors high or whatever. There's not enough space because everyone doesn't want to die. And then at the end of it, they create something for like the people that were 70 to de-age, because you don't age once you start taking this shit that doesn't kill you. But uh some people were like 70 when this not D8 like stay the same age shit came out. So they then started to take years off. Then you know you're shit. You're fucked. Like, what is immortality? Because if you're saying immortality, but we all still age, we just have to stick around forever. That's lots of pain, man. There's this Gulliver's Travels short story thing, a story in Gulliver's Travels, where there's some people who, when they're born with a mark on their forehead, they can't die, but they degrade at the same rate as normal humans. So these people are just like puddles of mush in like wheelchairs that no one wants to talk to because they're so scared of old age and everything, and they just sit and suffer because they can't ever die. So what type of immortal are you talking about? One. Two, what are we doing with population control? Three, like, why do you guys want to live in this same body? We figured out this great system where we're cycling the energy to get to like a better state, oneness. Why do you like recycle this shit? We don't need this. We'll come back better than ever. Or like the world will catch on fire and kill out humanity and we'll become dinosaurs again. You know, I'm fine with any of it. But anyway, in Epicurus' letter to Meniscus, which is the first thing I had to read for this class, I realized that I was an Epicurean, because Epicurus thinks that you shouldn't be afraid of death. That's some bullshit. And at the end of this letter that he writes to Meniscus about all the reasons why you should study philosophy and like release your suffering and basically be a good Stoic / Buddhist / God among men. And at the end of it, it says metaphor. I combined the two words. Meditate, therefore, on these things and things akin to them night and day by yourself, and with a companion like yourself, and never shall you be disturbed waking or asleep, but you shall live like a god among men, for a man who lives among immortal blessings is not like a mortal being. Anyway, now I'm gonna pull down my pants and Basically, that was just saying that if you live like you aren't afraid of death, it kind of makes you immortal. And then you do lots of brave things. So you're like a god among men. I gave away my soul to Brahmin. I don't have that shit anymore. If you like want it, it's part of the one. I am not selfish. I'm selfless. I I don't know. I don't have an ego. You guys can give me one. Like, I get it. Being egoless is an ego because you perceive me as having an ego, but I don't really have one. And I don't play by like the ego survival game. That's not what I'm here for. I don't want to play the ego survival game. You know? Let me go if it's that big of a deal. Bring Me to Life, but the Opposite by Evanescence. Someone should really make that song. I'm sure they already have. Anyway, I'm gonna shoot the shit. Bam, bam. I don't really have anything else to talk about. Well, I have lots to talk about, but nothing that I can fit into 3 minutes. I started reading the Gita, and that's really good. I read this book by the YouTuber that made the Snakes Have Legs video. I don't know if he's problematic or anything, but he seems like an okay guy. I just listened to a podcast episode of him where he was like ranting about his upstairs neighbors, though. I'm like, everyone's a terrible upstairs neighbor, bro. Just like put on headphones. Like, I don't know what to do for you. But that's the only reason why I thought he could be problematic after listening to that. But it was a pretty good book. I don't know why I got it. I just. I don't know why I do most things. Too bad, like, we don't have free will, so it's not me. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Now I can't. I lost the whole. That's what he said. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day. I don't think this was a very good YouTube video, but I thought my two yesterday were pretty good, so. Power of Breeze. I don't know how that relates, but whatever, bye.